Hey, Matt, what's your intent?
I'll write you a letter about it. Maybe we can negotiate. What is your intent?
Well, I don't know. Let me publish something about it. So the big question is this. As real estate agents, how do we figure out where and when to cross the finish line of this crazy business? We're told that we need to build a real estate business that supports us after we pay our dues. Well, the truth is that so many agents spend decades looking for the finish line and never find it. And I don't know about you, but we'll be damned if we're doing open houses until we're 70. You have to have passive streams of income in your real estate business if you want to survive. Well, this is exactly what we're talking about right here, right now on the Passive Real Estate Agent Podcast. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Passive Real Estate Agent Podcast. Guys, we are so glad that you are here listening to us. Who would have ever thought people were listening to us, Matt? I mean, but they do.
I listen to us all the time.
And it just goes to show you the proof of actually the topic I'm going to talk about today, which is publishing content. One of the things that I learned a long time ago, and I kind of learned this by accident, really, was to publish content constantly and consistently. And I'll tell you how I learned that by accident was when I was running an office of about 140 agents. I would have agents come to me all the time and they're like, Anthony, how do I, where do I put the price on the contract? Well, how about in the price field?
Go figure.
How do I pick a farm area? Let me tell you. And it was kind of the same questions over and over and over and over. And so what I decided to do is I decided to create my YouTube channel, which was actually just my personal YouTube account, which is not the right thing to do. Not these days anyways. Back then it was okay. But for all intents and purposes, I had a YouTube channel where anytime an agent came to me and asked me a question, I would record a video on it and give that answer to that question, right? And I was just doing this more for education, more just to help them understand what that thing is that needs to be done. And I would tell you right now, if you're a broker or you run a team or you're something, do that for sure. Because one of the great things was somebody would come into my office, instead of me having a half an hour or 45-minute conversation and have to do chit chat and all that stuff, they'd say, like one of the most popular ones I did was how to pick a farm area, right? Anthony, how do I pick the right farm area where I'm going to get business and stuff? And I say, go to my channel, watch my video on how to pick a farm area. And they would go there and they would watch it and they come back like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. But it was a 45-minute video because I go in depth into it. And same thing with a lot of stuff, because I would teach not just the how, but the why, right? Because it doesn't matter. It's like, Army soldiers, a lot of times, sadly, they're just thrown into battle. They're told, this is what you have to do. This is how you have to do it. They don't know why they're doing it sometimes. And I've been there, so I know. But I like to include the why, because when you get the why, that's more important than just the how, right? Because then,
it would seem that the person would have more ownership of what they're doing.
Absolutely. Well, and it increases their value too, right? Their personal value from a confidence standpoint, their personal value from the standpoint of communicating with others. They can now start sharing things. They take the same content that I delivered to them and they turn around and they go, you know what? I can share this with other people as well. And now people perceive them as being, the expert, which I'm perfectly fine with. I'm actually happy when people do that. And then it helped. But then also on top of that, they take it and they go, you know what? Actually, gosh, Anthony missed this one critical part that I think would really help. And they add on to it, make it better, right? But so publishing content, okay, now, but most people, they're hung up on, I don't know what to say and do. I'm afraid to get on camera or recording, or I'm not a great writer or anything like that. And I'm going to tell you, okay, first of all, I don't know what this, well, let me do the second one. I'm afraid to get on camera. I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too old, I'm too young, I have an accent. I don't have an accent. I'm, whatever. For those of you who are watching us on YouTube, have you seen me and Matt?
Mhm. Well, if you're on YouTube, now you have.
Now you have, and we're not we're not winning no beauty pageants anytime soon. you know so get over that, get over yourself on that. There's some people that have put out some of the most amazing content, and had they let that be a factor where they go, gosh, there is something wrong with me that people wouldn't want to listen to me, I'm going to tell you right now, don't fall for that lie. Okay. So that is probably one of the biggest hurdles that people come up with when they say, I'm afraid to publish content. I'm afraid to get out there and just, talk about my experience, my knowledge, and this and that and everything. Right. And then the next thing is, what do you publish? Right. That is a big factor. People said, and they wrestle, oh my gosh, what do I publish? Do I put out, how do I come up with content every single day? And I'm going to give you the answer right now. First of all, I alluded to it earlier. When somebody asks you a question, answer it. So I do this all the time. When a client asks me a question, so Anthony, are we supposed to, or do we have our own home inspection, or do the buyers have the inspection, or what do we do? I answer the question for them. And then as soon as I'm done and I go get in the car, I go, you know what? That's a good question. I want to answer it for everybody who's involved. And I will go and record a video. So now I have content that I can now send out to my sphere of influence that, shows that I have knowledge and experience in the field. So answer questions, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be specifically about real estate. It could be about something in the area. It could be an experience that you had, right? So a lot of agents, what they'll do is they'll become what they call the local online mayor of a town or something like that, right? A lot of you have probably heard that, where you go to different restaurants, you go to different venues, you go to the library, you go to the police station, you interview people, you talk to people, you get them on camera, and you'd all do it with your phone, right? God, I just saw how many fingerprints I got on that.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. You do it with your phone. You don't worry about fancy camera setups. You don't worry about having, great microphones and all this stuff. Figure that stuff out later if you want to. And you don't even need to, because the technology on these phones is phenomenal these days. Right. So there's lots of ways for you to come up with content, but still you're sitting there, I need something to talk about today. Then do this. And if you're on YouTube, you'll see. If you're not, then just listen along. How about go to Google and just type in the word real estate, and then click on news. Right under the search bar, there's a thing that says all news, maps, images, books, more. Click on news. So I just typed in real estate and I clicked on news. Well, right here, real estate listing goes viral when social media users take 3D tour and can't find the tub. Now, I haven't watched this, but if it's gone viral, that sounds pretty funny, right? You could do a whole piece around this. So if you wanted to do a video on it, get a screen share software like Screencast-O-Matic, or I think Apple products have a screen share program built in. And you pop that open and you play part of the video with you sitting there doing a commentary about it, right? That's a piece of content, and people would find that entertaining, and they would laugh and they would agree with you and make comments and engage, right? So that'd be good. And this was a day ago, 1 day ago.
I think they used my old house in California because we did not have a tub in that house.
Oh, that's funny.
To the sadness of my wife, she was like, "Oh, I want to take my baths," but she couldn't in that house.
Oops. Okay, so then, oops, sorry about that. Then look right here. So how to know when the real estate market is about to change. And this was 1 day ago. These people are creating content for you, okay, to talk about. So you pop this open and you look at it and you go through the article, you read the article yourself, and you give your own version of it, or you give your own thoughts about it as far as um, um, whether you agree with it, whether you disagree with it. Because here's part of, in my opinion, just on that whole topic, is that we are so hyper local in our business that we can't really know when our market is going to change. There's just something I've been saying to people for 20 plus years. And I say, there's only one way and one way only to know when we're at the peak of the market or we're at the very bottom of the market. And that is after you've missed it. Because it comes and it goes just as fast, right? So we're going to go, oh my gosh, everybody goes, oh, I'm going to wait because prices are going higher, like this. And they go, oh no, right? And think about it. You might have a different opinion about it. And if you do, comment on wherever you're watching this. We'd love to hear it. But even the federal government can't or won't tell you, when we're hitting those peaks or those valleys. And again, because we are hyper local, it's different. So you can't say it for all of California, the market's about to change. You can't even say for Southern California, the market's about to change, or even in Orange County, the market's about to change, because South Orange County is different than Central Orange County. Central Orange County is different than North Orange County.
It could be different across the street.
What's that? Yeah, absolutely. I've seen it. You've got neighborhoods that are on the other side of the freeway, same houses, but totally different, results. I don't know about that one. Newport Coast mansion sells for OC record smashing $61 million, right? What an article about is. What a great article that is for you to pop
in the position to consider that house. Yeah, I'll pay cash, no problem.
But it's entertaining too, right? Because if you're just talking about real estate updates in the marketplace, that's a good thing to do once a month. Do a real estate update. Hey, this is how many homes sold. This is how many went in, new listings, and how many are in escrow, and blah blah blah. And here's what the trend looks like. Okay, do that once a month. But that's really not a super sexy topic. Even for people who are buying and selling, they kind of look at market updates as like, okay. Unless it's like, the sky is falling, unless it's that. They're like, okay, I still got to buy a house. I still got to sell my house. We're still moving, whatever, right? Go to your local newspaper. And so like right now, we just had, some pretty big fires come through our area. It was literally about 1.5 miles from my house. And so they talk about the homes being evacuated in Silverado. Orange County home buying hits a 15-year high. Is that a good thing to talk about? Sure. Now, you're not just going here and opening the article and then just reading it word for word. But what you could do is you could do something like this. You open this article like this. Hello. And slick. I love it. Okay, so you go, okay, look. Hey, folks. Hi, Anthony. That's here. Hey, we here in Orange County, people are always asking me, man, what's happening with home prices, right? And Orange County Register just reported yesterday today. Oh, it was actually, wow, 40 minutes ago. They just reported 40 minutes ago that Orange County home buying hits a 15-year high. Okay, so 785 countrywide, median selling price is up 8.6% over 12 months. So what does that mean to you? I don't know, and read the article ahead of time so you know what you're talking about and stuff, and give your thoughts on it. Give your thoughts on it. What do you think is going to happen? And then also always ask for engagement and stuff like that, right? So when we're publishing content, it's so easy to do. Now, what about platforms? Where do we publish? There's so many different ways that you can publish. Okay. Here's an idea. Get a buddy of yours, friend, somebody else who's maybe in the business, or a partner vendor. Like if you're an agent and you get a loan officer, or you get a an escrow person, or you get somebody who would be committed to doing, ongoing things, or you get your buddy who's into investing. That's an idea. I should look somebody up like that, Matt.
Right.
Huh. And do a podcast with it.
I'll,
What?
I know someone.
Do you know somebody?
I know someone.
Yes, of course. And you get with somebody who has, a common interest and common ability to have a conversation, and do a regular recording every week. Like we do it once a week, right? And so when we do it once a week, number one, we always know that we're going to be here, and eventually we're going to start having guests on, and we're going to have other people come in and share their information too. But for consistency's sake, do it with someone, because if you don't, it's really easy to talk yourself out of doing, right? So, gosh darn it. My phone is just blowing up. Oh, I'm sorry.
All the leads coming in from good marketing.
Yeah, it's all those leads. So anyways, do the whole, get with somebody and do a recording, do a Zoom thing. Look, this is what we're doing. This is what me and Matt do. We do a Zoom recording of this, and then we take it and we take the audio and we publish it as a podcast that you're probably listening to right now. But also you can take it and you can have it transcribed, and you can do it as a blog post. Publish it to all of your social media that's out there, right? Because as an agent, it is your job to make sure that you're not James Bond or some super, spy. You're not Jason Bourne, right? You cannot be a secret agent. You have to constantly be letting people know what you do. And if you're not doing that, I don't care what you're publishing, but if you're not doing something that says I'm an agent, and if you're thinking about buying and selling, you need to call me, then you're doing you and your family and your community and your potential clients a huge disservice, right? It is your obligation to share your knowledge and your experiences with people. So go follow other people who have blogs, who have great Instagram feeds and things like that. There's one agent that I follow. All she does is Instagram stories. And she's doing business all the time. And guess what she talks about? Does she sit there on every single story and go, okay, this is a contract and here's what's happening. Look at this paragraph. Boy, they messed that up. No, she does some of that. But sometimes she talks about how her toast came out with a funny looking pattern on it. Really? Okay.
People love things like that because they can relate to it.
Yeah. They want to get to know the person, not just know, not just the real estate agent, the salesperson, right? The shark, the sales shark, because that's what people think. Oh, am I still sharing my screen too? Huh? Oh, well, and actually, while I'm doing that, because I'm going to show you this right now. Let me tell you what people think about real estate agents. I don't know if I've done this already, but if you go to Google and you just type in realtors are, just type realtors are, what are the first ones that come up? It says realtors are overpaid, required to arbitrate. Okay. Not your friend. That is important. Shady, parasites, obsolete, good neighbors, liars, lazy. Okay. Why does this come up in the Google suggested terms when you type in the words realtors are? It's because this is what people are typing in, or what people are creating content about. They're doing blog posts or social media posts or something like that say realtors are overpaid. Realtors are not your friend. Okay. And so when you're publishing content, it is so important to get people to understand that you are in fact a person and a human being, and you have interests and you have desires and you have things that you love to do, just like those people love to do. And if you love going out and boating, that's your thing, and you're on the lake 5 times a week, you better be doing posts from your boat 5 times a week, because the other people who love boating, whether they have a boat or not, they're going to go, oh man, that girl, that guy, that's so cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I can relate to them. I can connect to them and have a conversation with them. But if you do not publish, and I'm just beating this horse to death because I think it's one of the most important things that anybody can do in their real estate business is to publish content as a human being.
Right.
Okay. Not as a, here's a new listing. Hey, here's another new listing. Hey, here's more property bait for you to click on. If you're thinking about buying, you start publishing content, people will find you, they will love you, and they will do business with you. Now, on the other hand, on the other side of that, there is people that they'll never contact you because they look at your video or they listen to your podcast or they read your article and go, I can't believe that they said that. I don't like the way that person looks. I don't know what. And so what? Big deal. Good. I love, one of the best things that I do in my business is I weed out the people that I don't want to work with. I've worked with all of them, and I weed them out so that I don't have to work with them and only work with the people that I like because they like me, So anyways, publishing content, guys, so critical in your real estate business.
I have one question. I've heard
Yeah.
of something called Ask the Public.
Oh yeah. So one other site that you can use. Let me do the screen share again here. Go to and there's a few different things like this, but you go to Ask the Public. AskThePublic.com. And you'll, oh wait, oops, did I type something wrong? Ask the Public. Oh, Answer the Public.
Answer the Public. Okay.
Answer the Public. Yeah. And it's kind of like a keyword tool. Okay. But you go here and all you do is you type in a topic right here. Okay. So let's say, what are people asking about? Real estate. Oh, that guy's zooming in. Oh my God, what is he gonna do? Pick a zit. Oh, pull a hair out of his face. That's gross. Real estate. Well, just type real estate. Okay. And we go search.
What are people asking about real estate?
Yeah. So what are people, and it gave me 80 questions that people are asking about. Now, why is this important? This is huge. Oh, what a tool. The free version, just FYI, there's very limited searches. So you can't go in there and ask then ask something else and then ask something else, and it'll cut you off. You're like, oh no. And you want to go back to the one. So do the one, get all the information that you're looking for, and then do another one if you want to, if you're able to, get the results. But it gives you questions that people are typing into search engines about what are they asking. Okay. So what real estate to invest in, right? I mean, Matt, that's right there on you, right? What real estate agent, what real
estate to invest in.
Yeah. What real estate means, you go to the why or how. I like how. There it is. So we go here, how real estate companies make money. Sure. How real estate agents work, how real estate commissions work, how real estate investing works, how real estate make money. Okay, whatever, just word it. How real estate agents make money, how real estate works in USA, how real estate, so you can see there's a lot of, it gives you all the questions that people are typing in a search engine. So when you're publishing content, you want to be aware of this. You want to publish content that people can find, right? So yes, you're talking about how is my toast and all that stuff. I mean, look, my toast made a funny picture when I popped it out of the toaster. But on the other hand, you go, and you're answering these questions, search engines will find it and start displaying it as well and help you get found and give you what they call SEO juice and all that stuff to your website if you're publishing to your website or whatever. So anyway, there's a lot of different places. You can just do a keyword search, go use the Google keyword tool and do a search, see what people are talking about, and do posts about that. You don't have an excuse for not coming up with content. So Matt, are you intending to publish content, or do you have some other crazy intent?
I have a letter of intent.
What?
A letter of intent. Yes.
Is
So,
that publishing? Is that letter
well,
publishing?
technically, yes, you're publishing a letter that you're intending to buy some sort of investment property.
Hmm.
So in my segment here, we're talking about multifamily apartments, right? So a little bit different than a single family home. So any time that you buy a property or are thinking about buying a property that's maybe bigger than 10 units, let's say that you've crunched the numbers, you've underwritten it, and hey, this looks like a good deal. I want to go further with this. You write a letter of intent. If it's 10 units or smaller, you can use a standard form like most houses, but letters of intent. Now the question is, you're not guaranteeing that you're buying the property. What you're doing is you're telling the seller, hey, I'm serious. I'm interested in your property. I would like to move forward. And so you'll write in what you're offering and what the price that you'd like to do. You're going to come up with a strike price because you've looked at the numbers, right? And the borrower, or I'm sorry, the seller is saying, I want $550,000 for this place. And you've looked at it and, it looks like it's really only worth about 500,000. Well, you want to come up with your price, your strike price. And you want to start marketing about 10% below that 500. So the strike price would be about 500,000 because you're looking at the income and the expenses.
So let me back up just a second. So what is the process getting to the point where you're going to write a letter of intent?
You've done all the underwriting. So you've asked for the last episode, we talked about the trailing 12s, the rent roll, where it's showing you the expenses, it's showing you the incomes, it shows you the how occupied the property is. So are there any vacancies, people moving out, people that have put an application in. So you're looking at all that information and you should be able to get to a net operating income. Now, what that does is after all the expenses are done, this is the profit. And it's based on that number that's where you get the what you think you should offer. Like it's based on that one. So
so at this point in time, have you already looked at the books, or is that still pending?
Right. So that's the next thing. So you've looked at the information, the T12s and the rent roll, and based on what the seller has given you, you think, okay, yes, this is worth looking at further. So you write your letter of intent. Hey, Mr. Seller, I would like to offer $500,000 for this property. And though it's not a guarantee, it's showing that seller that you're serious. If they accept it, if they accept that letter of intent, that offer, then what happens is you're going to go and you've got typically 45 days to go in and verify the information that the seller has presented. You're then going to hire an inspector to go into all the small areas, looking at the roofs and the foundations, everything, boilers. A lot of these bigger properties have different equipment in them than a standard house. So there's things that you want a good expert inspector that's going to tell you, hey, that boiler looks great. It looks new. It's going to be good for a long time. Or, you're going to have to spend about $50,000 replacing that in about a year and a half. Those are material things that you're going to want to know because that could affect the value of the property because it's an expense. Now, if it's a good person, a good seller, and they've kept really good records, and that's right on. But what if they didn't take good records, or there's something that was not that was on those T12s that was not? It's like that was off. They said it was really less. That expense was less than what you're seeing. Then you can renegotiate, and you're either going to ask for them to lower their price, or you're going to ask them to give an allowance or money back at closing.
Sure.
Based on
part of the negotiation, right?
Yeah. So and then if they say no, then if there's too many problems, and it's just going to be too expensive to deal with, then you can walk. But you can
You're putting a
also,
deposit. Are you putting some sort of deposit when you
yeah,
do
I mean, a lot of times there is a earnest money that you put into it.
So it's kind
$5,000.
of like it's very much like a like a standard real estate transaction in the
Right.
sense that we write a purchase agreement where the letter of intent for that level of property is basically laying out those terms as well.
Correct.
But is it the question? I think I asked you this earlier. Is it legally binding though? Can they take that letter of intent and say, "Hey, you said you were going to do this, and you're backing out, and now we're going to
Yeah,
try"?
it is not a guarantee that you're gonna buy the property. You're just saying, I am interested. I'm a serious person. You may go and put earnest money down just to make sure that the seller feels comfortable. But yeah, there is, just like in your standards purchase agreement, there is a contingency put in, because if something happens where, hey, I didn't expect this, something personally happened where I don't want to do this deal anymore, there is a way out. But it's just how you start the ball rolling, getting access to look further at the property,
Mm-hmm.
so you can inspect and make sure everything's what you thought it would be.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, for obvious reasons, you don't want to get into a property, have them. I've actually had this happen before with one of my investors where we were looking at a property, asked them for copies of the rental applications.
Mhm.
They actually gave us old rental applications or rental applications, like trying to make us think that those people that were in the property, it was a 10 unit building. They, that they had been there for years and years and years, when in fact, there were like 3 or 4 of them were new, you know, and upon inspection of the property, when you walk in and you go, gosh, these people are new. They've only, or I mean, these guys have been here for 10 years. It makes sense. The carpet's worn out, the place needs paint and everything. But then later on, when we found out these people have only been here for 7 months and there's holes in the carpet, this current owner was not maintaining the property appropriately. And we found out that the rents were actually lower than, so yeah, due diligence.
That's a big one, because unfortunately you have owners that are not as forthcoming as you would want them to be. Others are great. Others have, here's the information and it's wonderful. But you want to, I'm going to assume financial responsibility for this big thing. I want to know, where the hidden skeletons are.
Sure.
And so that's a good point.
Okay.
Yeah. I put in new carpet 6 months ago, but why is there all these stains all over the place and a hole over there? Well, they've got 6 bull mastiff dogs that are occupying. That is just, that happens.
Right.
I can tell you some horror stories of places I heard about growing
Oh
up.
yeah, no, I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen the places. So as far as the structure of the letter goes, number one, is this something that is just a kind of a simple letter that somebody can go download somewhere and print out? Do they need to have an attorney write this? How do they come up with a
It's
letter?
always good if you, like, I think we talked about having team members, having a good attorney that you can say, here's the letter that I'm thinking about submitting, and just have them say, yeah, you have my blessing on this one. Always good. There's letter of intents that you can find online. If you have a good mentor that, they've already done some of that legwork and they're willing to share with you their letter, that's always good. But I mean, there's lots of tools out there.
If you're part of like a lot of the real estate investment associations and things like that too, or
Sure.
groups, right? A lot of times, I would say the more professional ones, because there's like networking groups, and then there's like out here, it's Real Estate Investment Association of Orange County, right? These guys are hardcore, and every like real investor is part of it, but they also give you a lot of the tools too, right?
Right.
So, important to have.
Yeah, you definitely, you don't want to, you want to have people that are qualified to say, hey, you ought to consider this one little line or this paragraph,
Right.
because what you want to do is you want to protect yourself. You don't want to guarantee yourself into something that where, oops, I didn't consider that, and now you're in a hot water. So yeah, you
And if
want good counsel.
yeah, if you have that attorney, and just ask them, hey, can you give me a boilerplate letter of intent?
Sure.
Because if those are the standard types of buildings you're going after,
Right.
pretty much going to be the same across the board, right? You're doing 10 to 20 units or something like that.
Sure.
Well, then you have one for that. Now, as you get bigger or even smaller, that letter could change.
Right.
But,
Well,
you
and
know,
what you're gonna see, and whether it's a letter of intent or some other contract, um, there are contingencies put into these things that give you the ability to say, hey, if this doesn't happen, then I have an out. Or if
right,
that doesn't happen, there's an out. It's something that you always want to have that because things happen and you want to make sure that you have some flexibility.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. What else do people need to know about having a letter of intent or using letters of intent?
It's just standard, like, usually it's for properties, like I was saying, that are bigger than 10 units. Um, yeah, and go search it up on Google it.
Well,
And
would you say it's actually even more typical for units 5 and more, because HUD is
sure,
anything 1 to 4 is a residential
sure, 5 units and
property.
greater are technically commercial, yes.
Yeah.
Um, sure, if you want to use a letter of intent, I don't see that's a problem. It's just, I was just going by what my coach, my mentor was telling me, that
Yeah.
typically it's used for 10 or bigger. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
let 10, if it's a commercial property, yeah, why not? I think a seller that sees somebody that says, hey, I'm interested in your building, I want to buy it for this amount, they're going to take you seriously.
Yeah.
So
Cool. All right.
there you go.
Well, good. Well, you guys should have an intention of going out and start building your career. Somebody told me once, they said, in real estate, if you're a real estate agent, you're listening to this, and you go, well, I need to build, generational wealth. I need to build for my retirement. I need to build for my future. There's two different things that you can do. Number one is, when it comes to commercial real estate, investing in properties, or even just investing in single families and stuff like that. The kind of the rule of thumb was sell 9, buy 1. Okay, so for every time you sell 9 houses, you should have the capital, you should have money set aside to where you can take it and come up with a down payment to go purchase that rental property.
Right.
And provided the rental property is providing the income to pay all the bills, it's a wash, right?
Right.
And
Perfect.
ideally, you're making money.
Right.
That's the goal. But if you're talking about long-term objectives, you obviously want to have all your expenses covered by the rent that's coming into the property, right? So sell 9 houses, buy 1 house or
I like
investment
that.
property of some sort, right? The second thing that you can do is you can go to thepassiverealestateagent.com
Hmm.
and click on the contact page. Reach out to me or Matt. Schedule a one-on-one private session where we can share with you some other great passive income models that you can incorporate directly into your real estate business. It's so funny because I see so many people in our business that are out there doing a side hustle. They're driving Ubers and Lyfts. They're working part time at the Costco or the Home Depot. They're working on their jewelry making business or their MLM or their something else, right? And here's my take on it is that, and I've done that. I've been there. I've done that. My take on it, Matt, is that when you do that, you are taking your focus off of your business,
Right.
right? Because if you're putting 50% focus on your real estate business and 50% focus on something else, then you're only 50% effective. But if you can have a passive income stream within the business, within the field of area that you are working, then all that does is fuels the fire like you will not even believe. get all your ads paid for, get all your your expenses paid for, pay for those investment properties, and so on. So feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk to you. And so this is Anthony Nitz signing off. Matt?
Well, appreciate you guys being here. We'll catch you next time.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Take care. Thanks so much for listening to the Passive Real Estate Agent Podcast. Hey, do us a favor and subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening to us right now. Don't forget the likes and the comments. We always appreciate it. And, it really helps others to find this valuable information. Now, look, there's something that both Matt and I and several of our guests have discovered that has radically changed our real estate job into a truly passive income. And it's a little controversial, and that's why we really don't discuss it on the show. But we'd like to invite those truly entrepreneurial individuals to learn more. Just visit thepassiverealestateagent.com and join one of our upcoming webinars. You'll thank yourself later that you did. Thanks again so much for listening. Take care.